Is the county clerk going to be back today? I've got a case going on over there, and I just needed some information from them. It'll eventually roll over to the district court, and I think I'll just go ahead and change it from the district court to the federal court under the circumstances. Well, what I was looking for was the W-9 for the county court, and then I just needed to see the affidavit that was attached. It said by oath or affirmation, so there should be something on file when they
clerk here from another county. I'll see if she can.
Thank you so much, Amy. I appreciate it. Shooby-dooby-doo. Greetings. Hi, how are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
Same old, same old. I was recently accosted against my will the other day, and I was led to believe that it was due to an oath or affirmation that had been made in order to create a capias or a warrant. And I was wondering if you had access to that so I could have a copy for my records, because it appears that I'm going to need to go ahead and bring a claim at this point. And so I just need that information.
So you want like everything that's been in your file?
Right, for
Okay.
that particular case, because I need to know who, one, made the oath or affirmation, because they'll be involved in the claim for making false and fictitious claims against I, a living man, causing I harm and damage.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. Obviously, this will go from the county court to the district court, and then probably more than likely to the federal court. But I need to start my private administrative process on my claim for the harm that's been
So
caused.
today you just want like a copy of the complaint and any supporting documents?
Right, and again, it was a complaint, not a claim, which I noticed was really funny. And then on the alleged warrant, which is a capias, as far as I know, it said that it was either by oath or affirmation. Well, that's very vague and ambiguous. I mean, we don't.
So you want a copy of the warrant too?
Yeah, a copy of everything that pertains to that particular case. And then it alleges that it's criminal, yet it says that it's a complaint. So I'm a little confused, because in a criminal matter, that means there's a man or woman that's been harmed, injured, damaged, or caused loss by my actions. Whether known or unbeknownst to me, it makes no difference. But if there is a man or woman who's been caused harm, injury, damage, or loss by my actions and my actions alone,
It would probably state. To be honest, I'm just filling in today.
I completely understand.
I'll just get what.
My great mama, and it took 30-some years for it to sink into my head. She says you're going to get far more flies with honey than you are with
Right,
vinegar.
so I'm just making sure.
I just want the
because,
complete file because it pertains to me.
All right.
The other thing is I'm going to have to do a writ to go ahead and correct the errors in the name, because there's some serious.
Okay.
Yeah, but that doesn't pertain to you. That doesn't deal with you. And I'd also like the W-9 for the county court, so I know who I'm dealing with, so I can make sure to notify the proper authorities.
Okay, that would
what's
be,
going on.
we are under the state of Nebraska, the court administrator's office, the Supreme Court.
This office should have its own W-9 or EIN that it operates under, yes?
No, we operate under the state of Nebraska. The EIN, don't ask me what it is, but I do know that all of us share, because we're all under the same.
Well, that's interesting, because Valley County has its own W-9. Valley County Court has its own W-9. Has its own W-9 number and everything.
Okay. Well, that's news to me.
So if you could inquire about it, I'm not accusing you of anything by any means, but if you could inquire about ascertaining the W-9 for me as well. But everything that pertains to that case so far, I mean, I'm presuming.
Okay, I'm probably not going to be able to, I mean, I don't know what it is. I'm going to have to call somebody or email somebody to make sure I get that. I don't know how long it's gonna take me.
That's okay. We got
Because
time.
I'm using somebody else's machine and,
Sure, I completely understand. And again, I'm not here to be hostile. I'm not an enemy, belligerent combatant of the United States. I'm a friend of the United States. I'm not a U.S. citizen, okay? I don't fall within the District of Columbia. I'm not one of those serfs or taxpayers, if you will. So all I need is what pertains to that case, because right now what I'm doing is I'm conducting an investigation to figure out the liable parties that have caused I, a man, harm, for which I'm going to have to make a claim. And in order to make my claim, I need certain pertinent information. For example, who signed off on the warrant, the capias, where the oath or affirmation is lodged and held at. I need a copy of the oath or affirmation.
were you able to pull it up?
This is everything in this file, in his case file, and there's Amy Branda's number.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Okay. Alright. Okay. And who is going to be the prosecutor that brought forward the claim?
The county attorney's office, Steve Bauer.
Okay, so it'll be Steve Bauer then that'll be the prosecutor on this one? No conflict of interest? He's not going to be removing himself, as far as you know?
I don't know.
Okay, no worries. I understand you're just subbing in. I just got to ask these questions. Okay,
I mean, if there's a conflict, that would be news to me, but looks like Steve's name's on the complaint.
Okay, and who is Marcus A.
I have no idea.
Sabinkin? Oh, that's the alleged state deputy sheriff. Perfect. Wonderful. All right. Thank you very much. These are the things that I needed to bring my claim. And this would be the other part of that. Okay, and you don't have a W-9. You will look for that, though.
Amy, this is who you would call to get that.
Okay. I'll call Amy, and she is at the... Oh, I know Amy. She's the Supreme Court clerk,
She works.
right?
Well, she works in the court
State
administrator.
Court Administrator's Office. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, ladies. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Yep. I am. So do you. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You ladies have a great day. Thank you so much for your professionalism. Cool. Oh, shit. I forgot one thing. Son of a gun. Boy, I almost forgot the most important part. I forgot one important part to ask for. Who is holding the indemnity bond or the hazard bond to ensure that if I'm caused harm, injury, damage, or loss during this, that I'm indemnified as a man?
When did you post it?
Well, no, it wouldn't be. It would be the complainant or the claimant would bring an indemnity bond or a hazard bond to ensure that if I'm caused harm, injury, damage, or loss during all these proceedings, that I'm compensated for not only my time, but the breach of my unalienable rights. So I'm just curious and it should be on file already, because you can't bring a claim to a court without bonding and insuring the claim.
Okay.
So I just need to know who's carrying the bond and the insurance on that claim, where the indemnity bond is, and where the hazard bond is. It's one or the other. Could you ask real quick?
Okay. Because I'm not, I guess I don't understand what you're asking.
Well, in order to bring a claim against somebody, you're going to have to indemnify them. You're going to have to put something in escrow or an indemnity bond or a hazard bond to make sure that if you bring a falsified claim and falsify a record and imply that a man has an obligation to perform a contract that, quite frankly, doesn't exist, that he is made whole. And so,
All right. Are you asking the county attorney is bonded?
No, I'm asking for the indemnity bond or the hazard bond that should have been attached to the writ of execution with the warrant. The affidavit also should have been attached, but the hazard bond or indemnity bond should have been attached so I could put that in escrow and have that for my records in case I'm caused harm, injury, damage, or loss. So, and I may be off as far as where it's placed, but there should be a bond, an indemnity bond or a hazard bond on file in case there's an injured party that's a result of this falsified fictitious claim brought under false and fictitious presumptions and assumptions. And there should be a hazard bond here. Or an indemnity bond. Who's going to indemnify me for the harm, damage, injury, and loss I'm being caused for the extortion?
That might be a Prenda question as well.
Okay. It just doesn't make any sense because if I bring a claim against somebody, the first thing they want me to do is bond the claim.
Okay.
I have to bond the claim or they will not accept the
Okay. Because I've never been asked that question before, so I'm not sure.
No worries.
If you're asking, like, is the county court itself bonded?
No.
Or
whoever brought the claim should be indemnifying me, and there should be an indemnity bond attached to this case, and I just need to know what the indemnity bond number is and a printout of the indemnity bond or the hazard bond in case somebody, it's an insurance policy is all it is. It's saying, hey, I validate, I assure that this claim is being brought forward in good faith, with good conscience, for good reason, and I am with such conviction in bringing my claim that I will put out an indemnity bond and indemnify him if I am wrong, if I cause him harm, injury, damage, or loss and can't prove my case and I falsified a record. I'm going to make sure that for the slander of his good name and the defamation of character that follows it, because character is property. Our character is property. So when you damage that property, there's amount due and owing for that.
Okay.
So I just need to make sure that the indemnity bond's there.
This would be specific to you, like.
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
Like if I was bringing a claim against you, I would have to bond that case in case I caused you harm. They'd say, "What are you putting up, Derek? You got a house? What do you got?"
Okay,
you're
my
gonna have
question
to buy an insurance policy here in case you cause her harm to make sure she can get paid.
Okay. In the terms that are normally presented to me.
I'm all ears.
Okay. From what I understand, there was an arrest warrant, correct?
Well,
okay, in my terms, on the piece of paper.
In legalese, yes, I suspect that you're probably correct.
In one of the pieces of papers, it had an arrest warrant, and in there it listed X amount of dollars or something.
Well, it didn't list It didn't list X amount of dollars. It actually had a peso symbol with some numerical value, but it didn't actually have anything written out in English language. All right. So, when you do a check, for example, you write out the denomination verbally, and you also write numerically, and that's how we creatively create. Okay.
All right.
Something of
monetary value. So what I'm asking,
value.
I'm trying to make sure I'm on the right page.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm like, okay. So, and there was probably money, cash, check, something to guarantee an appearance.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about I'm talking about the indemnity bond and the hazard bond that should have been attached to the warrant to make it a valid warrant to ensure that if anybody's caused harm, injury, damage, or loss during the execution of that warrant or during the proceedings, that whoever's caused harm, injury, damage, or loss is made whole.
Okay. Probably your best bet would be to ask Steve Bowers that question because I don't know.
But before the warrant is signed, there should be somebody indemnifying that to ensure that if there's a mistake made, and it should be on a written piece of paper within the file. It actually should be with the sheriff when he serves the warrant, so you can look at it. You actually look at the affidavit that's attached and go, okay.
Well, I know that in the warrant.
And then there should be the hazard bond or the indemnity bond, so I know who's indemnifying me. Because right now I'm formulating my claim, but it makes it really hard to formulate a claim when people don't have the proper documentation. So
I don't know.
All right. So it's allegedly and forgive me, I'm just trying to figure this out, because when I bring my claim, I don't want to hurt any innocent people, okay? It's not my intent. My intent is just to go after the bad actors who have tarnished my good name and brought a claim, a falsified claim under a falsified record, believing that somehow I, a man, owe them an obligation when no contract exists. So I just need to know who to direct my claim to, and you've never ever seen an indemnity bond or a hazard bond working in this field, ever?
Not identified that way.
Not attached to the warrant in any way, shape, or form, ever?
Not attached to a warrant. The
Okay.
warrant,
How have you seen it before?
Okay. The only thing I have seen in terms of like a bond would be like a surety bond.
Mm-hmm. Performance bond, bid bond. I'm very familiar with those. Payment bond, bid bond, performance bond, warehouse
or like
bond.
a bond if you're working like self-employed. Some people are what we call bonded,
Sure.
which would be their insurance against theft, damage, or whatever, those bonds. We have appearances bonds is what we call them, which is what I am used to. That verbiage, which would be after.
I'm sorry if I'm in your way. Let's step over here.
After,
Hi, the newspaper call.
which somebody would.
So how would I, who would?
Which, if that's what you're after, to be honest, I don't know if we have it yet. If it's something that was acquired at the sheriff's office.
The indemnity
and
bond would
some-
have had to been issued right away with the claim. And that's one of the
see-
founding principles of ensuring that all parties are on the up and up. If you're not willing to put up anything, then you can't bring a claim.
And
See,
so-
if I was to bring a claim but I didn't indemnify the man I was bringing a claim against, well, then there's a lack of good faith there. And it leads me to believe that the people bringing the claim may be insolvent. And if they're insolvent, then that means that they couldn't bring a claim in the first instance. And I'm just trying to make sure that when I bring my claim, no innocence has caused any harm, damage, injury, or loss.
Right,
Because I'm
right.
absolutely bringing a claim. There's no question about it.
Right.
But I want to make sure that there are no injured parties or casualties that come about it. And I know when I bring my claim, that I'll have to indemnify everybody that I bring a claim against to verify that my yes be yes and my no be no, and that I was caused harm, injury, damage, and loss by actors who were acting allegedly in good faith, but yet failed to have the qualifying bonds in place and the indemnities in place to ensure that I wasn't caused harm, injury, damage, or loss, which would mean that they were willing participants in a conspiracy against my unalienable rights, presuming and assuming that I'm a U.S. citizen and subject to the District of Columbia or the legislative branch, which I'm clearly not. So I guess you would advise the prosecuting attorney, is that correct?
My guess is, because what you're asking, he probably knows more than I do.
Okay, and all right.
Steve Bowers, there are people that know way more than I do.
Well, no problem. But the clerks generally are the whole ball of wax. They're the magician behind the curtain, if you will, and the judges are just
We know
just.
everything.
I comprehend that. But I just find it incredibly odd that nobody knows what an indemnity bond is or what a hazard bond is. And I just find that very strange.
Okay. I'm not saying I don't, but
Could you elaborate on what you would call it and identify it then, so we don't have a language barrier
but
anymore?
if you're saying
Because I've studied your profession for the last 10 years, and I know that an indemnity bond, and I also know that a hazard bond exists, and so I'm not here to pull your chain. But maybe you could provide clarity in your language, because there's a language barrier between legalese and just plain English. Obviously,
and so
there's a
that's what I'm
language barrier.
saying. The only bond that I would know of that would be associated with your case, from briefly looking at it when I handed you those papers, because that's the first time I've seen it, would be, okay, we have a complaint, we have an affidavit, we have an arrest warrant. If you were picked up, my guess is there would have been an appearance bond. That's the only bond I would have been.
Why would I bond my own case prior to the warrant being issued? See, the
And
warrant
the
can't
bond-
be issued without the man or woman being indemnified in case they're caused harm, injury,
Okay.
damage, or loss. Who is ensuring that if I'm caused harm by actors who act in bad faith, who's insuring the fact? I mean, is the whole town of Broken Bow liable at this point? Are you going to make the U.S. taxpayers and the landowners in Broken Bow 100% liable?
You might want to talk to Steve Bowers. He would be able to maybe clarify what you're asking, because I've never been, for one, asked that question. So
it's not typical that a common man would know these things. I understand that.
And so therefore I'm like, okay, I'm trying to understand what you're asking for, because
I'm just asking for all the financial reports on this case, because everything comes back to me. I'm the creditor on this. And this corporation is insolvent and has been since 1933, even before that. So the problem here is I've got rogue agents and agents that are performing acts allegedly under good faith that are failing to do their duty, which is to ensure that there's an indemnity bond and a hazard bond in place in case I, a man, a good lawful American, am caused harm by an agent and agency who falsifies the record, presuming and assuming that I was engaged in commerce, being derelict in his duty. So is the DMV backing this? Are they solvent? Do they have the indemnity bond in place? Is it Steve Bowers that has it?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, all I can do is ask. And again, I'm not here to be belligerent, not here to be an enemy belligerent combatant. I'm just here simply to get to the truth, because I have to bring a claim. I'm tired of being played with, and unfortunately, under the circumstances, it stinks because I like you. There's nothing. I had no animosity toward you. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this. So when I bring my claim, it's true and correct. And obviously, it looks like I need to come into equity, not at the at-law side, but in equity, where what should be done shall be done, and that all obligations are fulfilled by the obligor, and we'll make sure that happens. So again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a man who pays acute attention to detail when it comes to the judiciary and the fact that they're for-profit private corporation that is in fact insolvent. They have no credit, and so they steal and whisk away the credit from the American people by dubiously using unfair and deceptive trade practices and false and misleading deceptive forms. So essentially what you're saying is I bonded my own case. I issued my own warrant. Is that what you're telling me right now?
The only bond that I would be familiar with on this would be the bond that was posted to guarantee your appearance in court.
Okay, what about the performance bond, the bid bond, the warehouse bond?
I don't know.
Okay. You've never seen those bonds before?
Never.
So
never titled as those things.
Okay.
I've seen a surety bond. I've seen like bonding from a bond company. I've seen appearance bonds.
Performance bonds, SF 24, 25, and 25A, right?
I don't know.
SF 24 would be the performance bond, SF 25 would be the bid bond, and SF 25A would be the...
No, I have no idea. I've never been asked those questions. I've never researched them. I've never pulled them up. I've never been handed anything like that. So I'm not saying...
I'm just here to do my civic duty and hold derelict officials who have taken an oath of office accountable for their egregious actions against the American people. That's all I'm doing. So I'm not here again to be a belligerent, and I appreciate your time, and thank you for being as forthcoming as you can be, I guess. I'll take the information that I've received at this point and I'll move forward. Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Sure. Have a good afternoon.
You as well. Oh man. I bet the clerk of the court that accidentally rubber stamped that claim with Tammy Shint's name, that warrant, is getting her butt chewed. I bet you. So, we got some documentation, but we ain't done yet. No. Because these guys get away with this stuff way too much. Way too much, because nobody goes in there and asks. Now, I will tell you this. If this was like a traffic citation or something along them lines, clearly, I went in there and asked to see the magistrate 3 times. 3 times I would have been denied. I would have asked it in multiple different ways to ensure that I was asked and denied 3 times, which would have been denial due process of law. And then I would have completed a private administrative process, letting them know that I appeared on or before the date in question. And that would have been denial due process of law and closed down the case. But that isn't the same as what's going on here, okay? This is something completely different. I don't know if you guys can hear me. We're just having all kinds of fun here. Shooby-doo. There we are. Alright. So anyway. Wow, 69 of you. How you guys doing today? So we're listening to them choke and stumble over their deal. I'm just playing around with them on the public side. Everything I'm going to do is going to be in the exclusive jurisdiction, ex parte and sealed. Many of you guys will never get to see what's actually done, unfortunately. But I gave you guys a huge synopsis on it the other night when I read an entire book to you guys. And it's very interesting that these alleged officials don't comprehend what an indemnity bond is. I just find that absolutely, I'm awestruck right now. I think that's freaking crazy. She knew that with the warrant was supposed to be the affidavit. Well, the affidavit signed by an agent and agency. It isn't signed by a man or a woman making a claim. So he doesn't have any first-hand knowledge. He has nothing. And there's no contract. So I have some fun with the DMV. If I was going to keep it on the public side, I'd be subpoenaing everybody clear down to frickin' Herbert, George W. Bush. I'd be subpoenaing everybody just for shits and giggles, just to get a rise out of them all. We'll see where we go from here. I've got some other things that need to be done with the prosecutor in private. Unfortunately, you guys won't get to see that either. And I know it's a bummer deal. It's just the way it is. There's a private side and a public side, and if you act dishonorably in the private side, they'll kick you out and they'll bar you from it. So here's what's going to happen. It's going to go to the county court on March 8th. Then from March 8th, it'll be moved to the district court, and probably by then, not 100% certain that I will do this, but from that point, I'll move it over to the federal court, the original court of competent jurisdiction, because clearly what we have here is failure to communicate. That's what we got going on here. And it's very evident that there's a language barrier. She knows what I'm talking about. I'm just not maybe saying it to the way that she would like. So, and she's consciously aware that my phone is always running. When I go into these courthouses, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right now, they know that I'm Facebook live streaming. The phones start ringing like they're busier than all get out. When I'm there with other business, most often those phone lines are dead. If you notice, the whole time I'm there, the phone lines are ringing like mad. You know, save her. He's asking hard-hitting questions. Call her into the office, say she's got a phone call. Give her something to do so she has to leave, because she's in the kitchen. She's in there in the heat where there's a grease fire burning, and it's getting hot. And the longer it goes on, the longer things are exposed. So they try to mitigate how much contact they actually have with me. So with that said, I will talk to you guys soon. Hope you guys are having a beautiful, blessed day. Lord knows I am. I've never been so happy in my life. Been studying for a long time for this moment right here. So I was also informed by an assistant of a lawyer today that the FBI is now investigating me. Boys, pay attention. Watch closely, because I'm gonna open up a whole new world for you boys, you FBI agents. I've been wanting to talk to you guys for a long time, and I don't know if your problem is you just can't find Juan Valdez so I can have a crisp cup of coffee, or if you just have done your own research and realized that I'm not full of shit and you really don't want to have any contact that would prove that I'm 100% correct. So with that said, I love you all. We'll talk to you guys soon. I've got some work to do. I've got some handwritten claims that I need to make, and I've got some notices that need to be served because I am not an enemy belligerent combatant of the United States. I am not a U.S. citizen. I am not a debtor. I am not a U.S. taxpayer. And because of all that, I need to put everybody on notice so they know, including the IRS. Hey, what's up? Just letting you know, I am not a serf. I am not a subject slave to your entity, to your corporation, all right? You're insolvent. And I'm not going to placate to your guys' presumptions and assumptions any longer. If you don't let them know who you are, by default, you are presumed and assumed to be a U.S. citizen, an incompetent, a ward of the state, a belligerent enemy combatant, all right? You can find that underneath the War Powers Act. You can find that, you can find it in a lot of places, okay? So with that said, I look forward to doing an educational video for you guys today. We're going to go back over contract, because this is what some of this claim, or their complaint, again, it's a complaint, not a claim. The funniest thing is the people they're alleging that are injured by this, which I don't know that they're actually alleging anything. I just got the documentation. Well, what they may or may not be aware of is I know the man. So if there was an issue, he would have come to me already, and I would have squared it away. You know why they're mad? Because I argued with the chalupa at one of their courthouses trying to get this man a title for his motorcycle because he wished to gift it to the state and receive a certificate of colorable title. That's what all this is about. And it's just getting funnier and funnier and funnier. And they know they're on the hook at this point because they're actively causing a man, harm. I've got men who sometimes act in the capacity of agent and agency for an insolvent corporation who have not independently bonded this case to indemnify me should they falsify a record and cause me harm. That means they're 100% liable in their personal capacity for what they're doing. Might have to use a 433A and a 433B and compel them to put all their personal and private and business property on a 433A and a 433B to make sure that when I complete my claim, I can liquidate all their assets. All right? I ain't just a bunch of talk over here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a man of action, and I'm going to follow through with everything I'm telling you, and I'm going to hit this multiple different ways from multiple jurisdictions, all while knowing that I can't commingle the jurisdictions. The shit that I do on the private side will be just that, in the exclusive jurisdiction of equity on the private side. The stuff that I do on the public side, well, all you guys will be able to look it up. So, oh, it's a little Phil Collins moment. I've been waiting for this moment, I'm telling you. So anyway, love you guys. Talk to you soon. Hold them accountable. Accept their oath of office. We know that they're not compliant with Article 6 of the United States Constitution as far as the requirements for an oath of office. We also know that they're not compliant with Title 4 USC 101. That would be stuff that I would bring forward in the public, all right, not the private. That would be something that would be in the public because it's under titles, okay? The fact remains that I'm an American national and part of the Union State, part of the Arizona Union State, so I'm an Arizonan, and because of that, I'm not to be presumed or assumed a U.S. citizen subject to the jurisdiction of Washington, D.C. and their criminal legislative bunch. Okay? It's all in the literature if you will just read it. And I promise you that what I'm talking about is true, accurate, and absolutely equivocally correct. And tonight, I'm going to do a video on it. So I'm looking forward, because I do know that there are some honorable men and women in the judiciary, okay? The lower state courts are as criminal gets, but I have seen some good chancellors, some good, if you will, administrators who honor their oath and are hell-bent on doing the right thing. And it's given me a whole bunch of confidence if you've noticed from a few years ago when I was in the court beating them up, I was very belligerent, I was very hostile, I was very angry. So tonight what I'm going to do is research the correct questions I need to be asking that clerk of court so she can't abscond from the truth anymore. Because right now, she's not going to tell me unless I ask it a very, very specific way. And the second I ask it a specific way, boom, she knows liability's been affixed to her, and she's got an obligation and a duty to be forthcoming. So I'm going to go do my due diligence, and by tomorrow I'll have it figured out, and I'll walk back in there and I will ask them the right question. So we're, like I said, we're all in this together. Keep your shit wired tight, your head on a swivel. Always, always, always keep an open mind. I don't have all the answers. I understand that. But I know enough to be extremely dangerous and to make them very, very nervous. And this time, I know enough to perfect my claim and to make sure that my family and friends and loved ones are taken care of and that we're going to be okay. So that's the goal for this false and fictitious claim brought against me, presuming and assuming that I am some subject of the Washington, D.C. political subdivision, all right?